I banged the nicest guy at my office and dumped him the same night. Please, this is very important for us, I pleaded with Kevin. Unlock the door, I'm not happy with this, he said, his eyes burning with anger. Please consider coming with us, it will be a good way to network and solidify the deal, I insisted. He rolled his eyes and tried to get past me, but I moved at the same time, and his hand ended up on my chest. He got so close to me, and I breathed in his signature scent. I looked down at his lips, which had turned into a scowl. You can stay just for an hour, I will owe you. I lowered my voice, seeing the shouting would not help. Suddenly his breath caught and his eyes landed on my lips. Electricity sparked between us, a clear indication of how intense his feelings for me were. This is the reason I will never like you. Fine, I will do the stupid thing. Now unlock the door, he spat out. I never locked you in. The latch is just broken, I smirked and watched as realization set in. He had been so adamant in not helping me out that he even entered the storeroom to avoid me. I had followed him and the door got stuck and he couldn't open it. Please open it, I'm claustrophobic, Kevin breathed in. Sorry about that. I moved away from him and opened the door. I could not help smiling at the thought of him joining us for after-work drinks with a client. Later that evening. Oh no, sorry for spilling the drink on you. I must buy you another one, some guy who had bumped into me said. Nah bro, it's okay, I responded, turning to leave. As I was doing so, he grabbed my hand and turned me to look at him. The next thing I knew, he had brought me in for a kiss. Instantly I pulled away. What the hell? My eyes widened. What, not into guys? He slurred his words. I looked around for my team so that I could join them and leave that guy. Chase said you would be down for a good time. What changed? Am I not your type? His laugh grated at my skin. I was tired of him, so I tried to step away, but he blocked me. What are you talking about? I asked. You are Jerry, right? Always down for a good time? So let me buy you a drink and we can head to my place, he winked. He was clumsy, intoxicated, and terrible at flirting. I was getting more uninterested by the moment. At that moment, I saw a familiar face. Kevin. Look over there. You see him? That is my boyfriend. If you do not leave me alone right now, he will be mad. I gestured toward Kevin. The guy took one look at him and surrendered. I shook my head in exasperation and sighed. What a sticky situation. I went to the bar to refill my drink, and once I had it, I returned to our booth. However, before I could sit down, Kevin grabbed my hand and pulled me up. He dragged me to the corner of the club and then pinned me against the wall. His eyes burned brightly with anger, which perplexed me. I tried to move, but I was locked in. Let me go, I exclaimed. Not until you tell me why you are calling yourself my boyfriend. Why do you always have to make things difficult for me, he said angrily. I'm sorry, that guy was making moves on me and would not take no for an answer, I explained, sighing. Great, now he had more reasons to hate me. For some strange reason, Kevin got along with everyone at work except me. Since day one, I brushed him the wrong way. To this day, I was still trying to figure out what I had done wrong to make Kevin hate me so much. Since when have you turned down a guy? He said, and after a few seconds of creepy silence and Kevin shooting daggers at me, he added in the most uninterested way, Whatever, just don't ruin this night for me. I did you a favor by coming here, and then let go of me. I was shocked at his sudden anger. Sure, I had sensed that he did not like me since he had started at my company a year ago, but he had never been so direct. To this day, he was an enigma that could not be solved, even though I was good at reading people. I had been at the company for 4 years, and knew everyone and everything about the company, but struggled with him. He was friendly with and laughed with everyone else except me. Even though he kept things professional, I still felt the undertones of his disdain for me. I wondered what I had done to him. Later that night, most of my colleagues left the lounge, and I was left alone. I was laughing and joking with another group when I spotted Kevin slumped over a table, half hanging off. Excuse me guys, I need to check on my friend, I immediately said as I took off. Kevin, what is wrong? I asked, holding him up. The poor guy could barely stand or open his eyes. What happened? Tell me. I asked again, but he mumbled. It occurred to me that maybe he had too much to drink. I signaled for a bartender and asked for water while I tried to get him to talk to me. As I questioned him, it became clear that he was in an intense state of inebriation and not aware of his surroundings. I took his phone hoping to find someone to call and get him, but the battery was flat. Obviously, I could not leave him there, so I decided to take him to my place where he could sober up. The next morning. I got up early the next morning after the night and had some coffee while I waited for him to wake up. We got home the previous night. I made Kevin some coffee and then put him to sleep in my spare bedroom. The incident with the drunk guy the previous night replayed in my mind and got me thinking. I mused over how no matter how much a person changed, they can never outrun their past. Even on a random Friday night, my Playboy past followed me. I was so notorious that even random guys thought they had a chance with me. I was not proud of it at all. I walked over to my rug, took off my shoes, and sat down cross-legged, then closed my eyes. I began to breathe in and out, feeling the tension leave my body. I reminded myself that this was all in the past. It was not who I was anymore. "I did not peg you for someone who does yoga," a voice said. Instantly my eyes opened, revealing Kevin. I scrambled to my feet, embarrassed to be found in such a position. "I think you meant meditation," I chuckled. He smirked, but so quickly that I thought I imagined it. "Whatever, I just want to know how I ended up in your house," he said. Suddenly he stumbled and I moved at light speed to catch him. "I'm fine, leave me alone," he grunted, then tossed himself onto the couch. "Let me make you some coffee," I offered, but I was stopped by a sudden outburst. "What the hell am I doing in your house? What did you do to me? OMG, did we sleep together?" His voice rose an octave with each word. "Kevin, I will tell you everything that happened, but you need to calm down, okay?" I responded. Thankfully, he calmed down and I was able to proceed to tell him what happened that night. He listened attentively, with no reaction as I recounted the events of that night to him. Once I was done telling him what happened, his first words were, "You saved me," almost in disbelief. It was perplexing that he would be surprised that I assisted him, but I kept my concerns to myself. Instead, I uttered a simple, "I would have done it for anyone. Want some coffee?" His eyes watered a little bit. He stepped forward and put his arms up as if he was about to hug me, but at the last moment, he offered a handshake. That momentary touch stirred something in me, something familiar which I pushed down. This time, he took me up on the offer and we shared coffee in silence. Afterward, he waited for his phone to charge and then called himself a cab. Sunday night. I spent the rest of the weekend with some friends, so I did not think about what happened on Friday until Sunday night. I suddenly remembered to check in on Kevin. I had checked to make sure that he got home safe, but had heard nothing from him ever since. I sent a simple, "Hi, how are you feeling now?" A few seconds later, I got a response, "Hi, I'm doing much better. And you?" "Same, still feeling weak?" I asked. "A little bit, but I think it is better because of all the dancing," he responded. "Okay, I'm happy to hear that. Drink a lot of water and get some rest," I sent back. "Thanks, I guess," he responded. "Okay, no problem. Did you manage to finish up on the Smith files?" I asked. "Getting to it. Thanks for the reminder. Do not worry, I'm good for it," he responded. "Okay, sleep well." I sent, then went back to my previous activity. Poor guy. Anything could have happened to him if I was not there. The next day. The next morning, Kevin was absent from work. It was his first day absent since he started, so I was incredibly worried. I asked around the office, but no one had heard from him. In addition, he did not send me the files I needed. My worry ended up getting the better of me, and I ended up visiting him at the end of the day. Once I proved that I worked with him, I was able to get past security. I knocked at his door and called his phone for an hour, but I got no response. In the end, I had no choice but to ask the guard for help. "I'm sorry, sir, but I cannot just open his door. The only people with authority to make me do that are the cops," the guard told me. "My coworker is not feeling well. Anything could have happened to him. There is no time to call the cops," I exclaimed. "Again, sir, I cannot," he began. I went on rambling and shouting at the guard about how this was such a careless behavior when I heard the faintest of voices. "No need to be so dramatic. I am fine," he said in the weakest voice. Kevin had opened the door while I was arguing with the guard, and he looked like death itself. Immediately, I put a hand on his forehead, which turned out to be boiling hot. "I'm fine," he whined, but I was hearing none of it. "Kevin, you are not okay. We are going to the hospital right now, and there is nothing you can do about it," I informed him. He smiled weakly and said, "Just 'cause you worrying is cute doesn't mean it's valid. I'm okay." I was momentarily stunned by him calling me cute, but I decided to ignore him and look at him seriously, still trying to convince him to go to the hospital. "Fine. If that will make you stop shouting so loud, it's like you have a loudspeaker in my ears," he rolled his eyes. The next morning. "Sir, the patient has woken up," a woman woke me up. At some point, I nodded off to sleep while they attended to Kevin. I blinked as everything slowly came to focus. "Your boyfriend is fine. You can see him now," she alerted me with a kind smile on her face. "He's not my," I wanted to say, but changed my mind. Our relationship would be too complicated to explain, and I would receive less information if they knew who I was. "Can I see him?" I asked. "Of course," she smiled and led me to him. I gasped when I saw that they had put him on a drip. I wondered what he took that had such a bad effect on him. When he saw me, he appeared shocked but remained silent. "How are you feeling?" I asked. "You're still here. I thought you would have left," he said, voice hoarse. "There is no way that I could leave without making sure that you're okay," I responded. He gave me a strange look, but shrugged before telling me what happened. "So it turns out that I drank a bad drink and it reacted negatively with my body. I just need to detox, then I'll be brand new." "Good. I'm so sorry for insisting that you come with us that night," I told him, feeling guilty. "So you actually feel guilt? How shocking," he scoffed. I gasped, taken aback by his sudden rudeness. His civil behavior toward me the past few days had led me to a false sense of friendship, but clearly nothing had changed. He still regarded me with the same disdain as before. Enough was enough. I needed to know why he had it for me. I braced myself to square off with him, but stopped in my tracks when I received a text. "Morning, Jerry. Just wanted to remind you to check in on the status logs this morning." I checked the time, and it was 7:40 a.m. "Oh no, I have to go to work. Catch you later," I said, and left before he said another word. Later that day. I had to stay at the office for an extra hour because of how late I was, so by the end of the day, I was very tired. As soon as I saw my bed, I fell asleep. I completely forgot to go and see Kevin. I ended up waking up in the middle of the night to a text from him. "Figured you were too tired to come through. Just wanted to thank you for caring and insisting I came here," he wrote. Instantly, I smiled and felt my cheeks warm up. Turns out he could be sweet after all. I responded with, "I fell asleep, but I hope you are doing better now." Then I switched my phone off and went back to bed. I did not think about him again until later that afternoon when I got a text from him. "I'm out. We'll be back at work on Friday," he sent. "Glad you feel better. Need anything?" I shot back. "No, you have done enough," he responded. "Text me if you need anything," I texted back. "Gee, you are laying it on thick. No need to impress me. I am nobody," he sent. A sharp spike went through my heart, and instant rage flooded through my veins. "I'm just being a decent human being. Why are you being so difficult?" I asked. "Oh, now you are a decent human being. What do you want, for people to clap hands for you? I'm fine. My family will take care of me if I need anything," he responded. I sent a thumbs up emoji and put my phone away. I sighed. Why did he have to be so difficult? I mean, last night things felt like all of this unexplained rage might settle down between us, but now we were back to square one. This was it. I was not going to try anymore. All he had done lately was be ungrateful toward me. I had been kind and had gone above and beyond for him, yet I was still treated like trash. I would just stop trying. 2 weeks later. When Kevin came back to work, I limited my interactions with him to work only. When a welcome back lunch was arranged for him, I did not attend. I resigned myself to the fact that we would never be friends. Besides, I had other things on my plate. One day, I got the news that my cousin, who I was close to, got into a motorcycle accident and was in critical condition. He meant a lot to me, so I put in a week of leave so that I could visit him out of town. When at work, I was highly productive, not letting myself crack, but as soon as I got home, the stress got to me. I stayed as close as possible to the phone, waiting for an update on his condition, but everything remained the same. The days leading up to my departure passed by slowly, but soon I had my last night at work. I was setting everything up for my team when I got the call. It was my aunt, my cousin's mom. "Hi, is Louis okay?" I said immediately. "I'm so sorry, Jerry." As soon as she uttered the words, the phone fell to the ground and I let out a scream. The world crashed around me as the loss took over. I do not know how long I cried, but it seemed to be never ending. The more I thought of him, the more the inconsolable sadness consumed me. I was in a storm of my own grief, paralyzed and unable to move. Suddenly there was a hand on my shoulder, lightly rubbing it. I looked up and in between my tears I saw Kevin. Immediately I tried to stop crying and began wiping my tears, but he suddenly hugged me from behind and started caressing my hair, and then he started singing a very familiar song. "Where do you know that song from?" "My cousin Louis wrote that song," I said, suspicious. "You and I met when I was playing this song. Did I really make such a small impact on you?" he scoffed. "Oh gosh!" I exclaimed as I realized why Kevin hated me. Flashback, senior year of college. My cousin Louis was playing a new song he had written with some friends of his at a bar on campus. I was tipsy, losing myself in the music and flowing with it. As I was doing so, I caught the eye of this tall, skinny guy with glasses who was playing the drums. I kept on making eye contact with him for the rest of the set, feeling myself drawn to him. He was just my type, which was dark hair and beautiful eyes. After the set, I bought him a drink, and one thing led to another. We talked the whole night, kissed, and ended up going home together. I enjoyed talking to him because he was so smart and intelligent. Even after all the fun was done, we talked till the early morning. For the first time ever, I cuddled the person I slept with. When I woke up, he had made me breakfast and was acting so clingy toward me. I did not know how to let him down properly, so I played along till I could go home. I had confusing feelings which did not sit well with me, so I stopped responding to his messages. He kept on messaging me and asking to see me, so I asked Lewis about him, and my cousin told me the guy was filling in for their drummer. I did not think I would see him again, but the guy tracked me down. We made some small talk, but I was already on to my next target. I did not do relationships at that stage. I had just come out of a pretty toxic one and wanted to enjoy myself. We ended up at the same party one night and talked again. I enjoyed speaking to him and assumed we were going to be friends, but he had other thoughts. He asked me out on a date, but I rejected him. Unfortunately, a group of my friends were nearby and heard me rejecting him, so they laughed because they knew I didn't do relationships. He had such a hurt expression on his face before leaving that I felt bad, but I didn't run after him. I was so drunk and high on my friend's approval, and we never spoke again. I had so many more lovers after that and forgot him. I never thought I would see him again, but that song brought back the memories. Flashback ends. Present day. "It was you?" I asked. "I met someone special while playing the song on stage," he said as he carried on caressing my hair and relaxing my body. "It was you. All along it was you," I said slowly, and then I started laughing. Now everything made a lot of sense. Of course, trust the loss of my dear cousin to bring me close to the truth. It took you a whole year to figure it out. Guess I was really just a warm body. You know, I never wanted to believe that you were a player who slept with everyone and their dad, but wow, you truly were. His voice cracked a bit. "Why did you not say anything to me? We've been working together, for goodness sake," I exclaimed. "Because I hated you. Life worked out so well for you even though you were a liar and a cheater. That was unfair," he said, his voice bitter. I removed his hands from my head and then turned to face him. Emotions that I had never seen before swirled in his eyes. I was floored, not sure what to do. "I'm sorry for hurting you. I promise you I am no longer the person that I used to be," I let him know. "I have been inclined to believe you, but I cannot forget how you rejected me in front of your friends like that," he said coldly. "I know, I was drunk and a major douche. I swear I have changed since then," I said as sincerely as I could. "I hope it is true, but I will need time to process this conversation," he said. "I know," I nodded, accepting the little he could give. "By the way, is everything okay? What happened?" he asked. "I just got a call that Lewis is no more. I was supposed to see him tomorrow," I told him. For a moment, he stared into space, shocked by what had happened. "I'm so sorry for your loss. He was a talented young man," he mused, having a faraway look in his eyes. "You know, he was the first person I came out to who supported me. He was just like a brother to me, and we shared so much together. I cannot believe that he's gone," I sighed. Feeling the weight of the world on me, Kevin took my hand and squeezed it. "Let it all out," he encouraged me. That was what we did till nearly in the morning. He listened to me, held me when the grief got too much, and he told me his stories about Lewis. Eventually, I had to go home and prepare to leave, but when my flight departed, I was much lighter. A week later. The funeral was difficult to go through, as expected, but thanks to Kevin, I got through it. At first, I was surprised that he checked up on me by texting, but I appreciated it. I had to be strong for my whole family, so talking to him was the only way I could be vulnerable. Soon, talking to him became the highlight of my days. Slowly, I found myself checking my phone every couple of hours, hoping it was him. His dry humor, constant checking in on me, and kindness were what I needed to deal with the loss of Lewis. If he was not there, constantly checking in, I would have driven myself mad. Even then, what I did to him haunted me at the back of my mind. I felt as if I had not done enough to repent for what I did. I still felt as if there was a great disconnect between Kevin and me. One night, I asked to FaceTime him about something important. "Hey, is everything okay?" he asked immediately. "It is, but something is eating me up. I feel terrible that I didn't remember you," I said. "Yes, that part really hurt. What you did was bad and I eventually forgave you, but the fact that you didn't remember hurt a lot," he responded. His words stung, but they were the truth. I hurt so many people back then. I wish I could apologize to all of them. It was hard coming out after being in the closet for so long, and then the toxic relationship happened. It all just... I felt as if I could do anything with no consequences, I said. Well, I see that you have come a long way since then, Kevin stated. I am so sorry for not remembering you, I said. You have shown that you've changed over the past few weeks. You did a lot for me by checking in on me and getting me medical attention. Let's say we are even, he smiled. I still owe you for being there during this difficult time, I reminded him. I accept payment in coffee, he chuckled. We then continued to talk about everything and nothing for the rest of the call. A month later, when I came back from the funeral, the first thing I did was send a message to Kevin. Hey, I'm back in town. Want to grab a coffee? I sent. I felt that we had deeply connected over that week and that he had the potential to be a good friend. Sure, send me the time and location, please, he responded immediately, which sent elation running through my body. Suddenly, I was energized and started getting ready to see him. An hour later, I knew he was behind me before I could even see him. The energy around me shifted, as it often did when he entered the room. This is something that has happened since he started working with me. It used to make me nervous, but now it relaxed me. You look better than the last time I saw you, he observed with a cheeky smile. And you look good, as always, I responded. Suddenly he giggled and looked away. What is wrong? I asked. You have never lost your charm, he remarked. I would hope not, I said, raising an eyebrow and smiling at him. I had been wanting to rile him up a bit, but I was stopped in my tracks. A strange feeling unfolded within me, raising my heartbeat and making it flutter. Who was I kidding? He was doing something to make me feel that way. Ready to order? He asked, stopping the banter. After I calmed down, I focused on the menu. Little did I know that it was not going to be an ordinary coffee. After coffee, Kevin said, Want to take a walk to the arcade? I bet I could beat you at some games. Yeah, right, try me, I answered to the challenge. Loser buys dinner, he set the stakes. Be ready for your wallet to bleed, I laughed. Later that evening, I can't breathe, I exclaimed, clutching my tummy. We had been at the arcade for hours, and his jokes were killing me. I could not remember the last time I laughed like that. I was truly grateful for his presence. He did not know it, but he was helping me from being alone in my apartment. The feeling of being alone was increasing with each day, and Lewis's death had made it worse. Now, I did not think of that. I was floating high above everything. Your laugh can be so musical, he pointed out, immediately silencing me. Yeah, right, I twiddled my hands, avoiding looking at him. It is interesting watching you blush. You always seem so sure of yourself, Kevin said as he brushed a hand on my arm. A sudden urge to be close to him suddenly overcame me. It did not shock me too much. He was a handsome man, one who knew all the right things to say. Of course, I would be prey. If you keep looking at me like that, I will break so many company laws. Damn, even when you are shy, you manage to be seductive, he sighed, looking away. What would be so bad about that? I asked. So many things, he responded. I thought about it. I wanted to risk it all, but I didn't want him to think that I was going to be that person again. The old me would have found a way to get him to my bed and do the things I wanted, but that was not me anymore. Do you want to have some milkshakes and rest for a bit? My ribs are hurting, I suggested. Okay, I could use a milkshake. He beamed and followed me to the tables. We got our milkshakes in time and silently had them. I might have appeared calm, but I was wrestling with myself on how to ask him a certain question. So, how has work been? I stuck to a safe topic. It has been the same. We've missed you a lot, he responded neutrally. Okay, I said, then shut up again. Feels like you want to ask me something. What is it? He asked. Recent events have made me evaluate a lot of things. One of those things is how I have done things in the past. I have hurt people like you, and I wish I could go back in time to redeem myself, I began. He listened attentively and did not say a word. You have redeemed yourself. You are not the selfish person you once were. That I can tell. Everyone deserves a second chance, he surprised me by saying. Really? I questioned suspiciously. I've seen the real you, and he is a very likable guy, so please forgive yourself, he insisted. Does the real me stand a chance at taking you out on a proper date? I blurted it out. Kevin stopped in his tracks and widened his eyes. He did not say anything for a while, just bored a hole into my soul. Well, I laughed nervously. I felt disappointment slowly creeping in. It would be the perfect opportunity for him to shut me down like I did to him. Honestly, I was ready to accept it. I deserved whatever he was going to say. You know what? Why not? You have a chance to redeem yourself. You seem to be a much better man now, but promise me one thing first, he said. Anything, I said, bouncing in my seat. If you are not feeling things, be honest with me. Do not take me for a ride. I am not going to respond as I did in the past, he said sternly. Of course. Believe me, I am not the man I once was. I'm going to do so much better, and I will earn your trust, I said, and I was not lying. He always had qualities that I admired, which had drawn me in from the beginning. I had always wondered what could have been between us if I had been this version of myself. As I held his hands across that table, I promised that I would give this my all. I was done with being alone and feeling undeserving of love. My past was my past, and I needed to stop letting that get in my way. I deserved love, and I was going to grab it with my whole heart. A week later. Things were going well with him. He was slowly but surely trusting me, but we did not get a chance to see each other too often. I really wanted to be romantic and show him that I was serious about us. After consulting with some friends, I decided to do something special for him. I made sure that the delivery driver arrived at the office at a time when I was close to Kevin's desk, and then watched the show. I had a delivery for Kevin, the delivery driver said. That is me, but I didn't order anything, Kevin said. A few people looked over but went back to their work. This is for you. Please sign, the delivery driver said as he gave Kevin flowers and a gift box. Kevin had a perplexed look on his face, but he signed. I watched with bated breath as he read the card, and the most beautiful smile filled his face. I had written, "Thank you so much for the beautiful moments that we have spent and for giving me a second chance. I am going to make sure to make you feel special each and every day because I am so lucky to have you in my life." Everyone around the office gushed and gave him compliments on the flowers, and that made me happy. What made me even happier was the look in his eyes. He looked at me with so much love that I nearly melted into a puddle. Just as I had rejected him in front of my peers, I had made him feel special in front of everyone again. I meant it. I was not fumbling him again. Conclusion. Soon, I took him out on a real date, and it went well. We are still taking things slow, but so far so good. I fall for him more each day and feel glad that I took that chance to ask him out. The end. Would you give someone who broke your heart a second chance? Thanks for watching. Consider subscribing to become part of our Rainbow Force, and stay wholesome.